beat the rain, but obviously did not. Really quick, for those that have asked, I should have totally been doing this YouTube thing as I was putting all this junk together and called it something like Off the Grid for the non-prepper, or for the average Joe, since I'm definitely not a prepper, Rambo, or anything close to it. But anyway, some people were just asking in general, hey, where is things? We see a garden, we see a cellar. Where is this from each other? Is it a long ways off? Well, obviously not really. Here's the metal building, basically, that we got for free, Robert and I. And he gave me one, and I helped him cut it. And it's funny, people are like, oh, you're so precise. No, not really. This door, I think I measured it like 4 or 5 times, kept getting it wrong. Then finally just thickened it, put insulation in it, caulked it, and hopefully it'll hold. Again, live and learn. We've got the temperature thing taken care of. It doesn't get below about 40. But on the flip side, the humidity is a little tight. So again, playing it as we come, or as we go. That was the original building. Outdoor shower behind it, kind of threw together sloppily. That little metal building there was an absolute waste. Again, live and learn. The little 2-story building here was the first one right before Gina and I moved to the Big Apple, New York City for work. And I don't even know why I got it. It was on clearance, and I thought, you know what, this would be cool. So this is kind of what it started out as. Again, because people keep asking, what's that little building? And again, we've got the solar also hooked up to this. Dad and I was able to wire it and everything. And then Gina said, hey, while you're at it, I should shut that off. Again, moving a lot of crap around. I need to clean a lot of this up, but Gina wanted me to relocate some of the tons of books I had. And then also for those people that were asking, hey, what happened to all that art you had at Reverie? Well, what didn't sell or was donated pretty much got relocated here. So it is kind of funny to have an actual Renaissance and Baroque piece out here in the middle of nowhere. But, and again, got to clean all this up. That's upstairs, a little bit messy. Got a desk and a few other things, but nothing fancy. The pergola that Robert and I built, propane fire pit. Again, the cement, if you look at it, you're like, man, that was a crappy job. Well, Robert and I did it, and it started to dry on us before we could get it completely done. One nice thing is the little solar lights, they actually work pretty good that are hanging out. You can't really tell now. Really quick, we're getting more drenched. There's 2 of the panels, there's 4, there's the wind turbine, the water will walk back around. Again, in here, basically have the propane bottle that's feeding the inside. Oh, let's just take a look. So again, people keep thinking, I forgot to close the stove door. Again, we kind of wired this. Those lights, honestly, are a little too bright. So I usually just use the lamps, plus they use a lot less. So there's the propane. Again, all this stuff was just, this was my and Gina's first dining room table. It was just sitting in the garage. A lot of IKEA stuff. This bar, my grandpa made, and for my parents, like when they first had built their house forever ago, and it was just sitting in the barn. So I just said, hey, if you're not using it, can I have it? My granny was getting rid of a chair. I said, hey, I'll take it. So it's not like I went and bought a bunch of stuff. This was just stuff repurposed, you might say. Oh, gotta turn that off. Whoop, shut this. Those fans are actually awesome. The fact that they work just by heat. So if they get hot, they turn, they help circulate a lot of the air. So again, if you've got every light in the house on, and again, all the rooms are pretty much the same, nothing fancy. This is my room, and again, we had a Ben-Hur theme once at one of the art deals, so I just repurposed it. My nephews helped me put some of these together, again, with stuff that we have just had. It's not like bought a lot of this. Friends and I was going to go on this sideways trip this summer. Hopefully we'll go again, but kind of fell through, so my nephews are like, is this the drunk room? And I'm like, no, this is just the winery / relaxed room. Nephews put this one together, the warrior room. Apparently had enough themes to halfway put something together. Again, one outlet. I gotta trust the government. And what's this one? Oh, this one's again. This was all the art, the abstract art we had at Reverie. Whoop, excuse me, sir. Got Morpheus, the cat. That was actually made. That was one of the originals from Val Kilmer. Wake up, Neil. That's what I tell myself every morning. See, wake up, Neil. Dead Poets Society, The Matrix Has You. Who's that? And always get asked about the bathroom facilities. Honestly, not that bad. These use too much power, to be honest, but if you just want to knock out the wrinkles, it works pretty good. And then hand washing clothes is not that bad. And then there's the toilet everybody gets so worried about. Whoops. I'm like, composting is not that bad, trust me. Again, most of the shower is outside. Whoops. But again, not the end of the world if you have to use an inside one. You can easily heat the water. Not that big of a deal. And the composting, like I said on YouTube, if you smell anything, you've done something wrong. That is a fact. Oh, this room still needs some work. Usually, unless I'm just heating something, I can heat it on the stove, but burners back here. 2 refrigerators, eco-friendly, so they can get things to freezing, but they don't use much power. Here's the battery system. I've got everything, every light on, the TV, the DVD, everything, and I'm only using barely 200 watts. But you can't use stuff like all the time. Washing dishes, again, not that bad. Just a little rechargeable water tank. And I started draining some of these for winter, just because I don't want them to freeze. Okay, good. It's pretty much empty. But yeah, I mean, it has a pretty decent filtration actually into the gutters. Then it goes here, has another filtration set up here, and then just treat the water itself, and you're pretty much done. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. So anyway, the whole point is not to say, hey, look at me. No, it's 100% not it. It's mostly to say, live and learn. If I can do this watching a few YouTube videos, then anyone can. And secondly, I mean, this entire thing was like 35 grand. So, I mean, it's not like, you know, I mean, an average house now is like 250, 300,000 on a 8% interest. So I would save yourself some sanity. But that's it. Just shut the door. A little brisk this morning. Continuing the other videos, some people had asked where the placement of some things were at. The garden in retrospect to the cabin building, aka cabin. And so I did one, but it was pouring down rain, so now I'm just doing the other one up here for those that ask. And again, just to reiterate, it's not like, you know, when it's like off grid. Gina's pretty much already said, hey, this is awesome. No, as far as full time, unless I guess something really hit the fan. So again, this isn't a, hey, look at James. Eventually, this isn't a, hey, look at James. This is more of a, you know, I'm hearing people, especially now, sign like 40-year notes at like an 8% interest rate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, you may be dead before you can get the thing paid off. Is it really worth it? Especially in my current line of work, Walmart corporate, where people work themselves to an early grave. So basically, if I can do this, anybody can, especially for only like 35 grand. Anyway, the pond's filling back up. Need to do some work there. That will probably be more in the spring. Same thing with the trail. We cleared a bunch of it last spring into the summer, and then ran out of gas, and was still doing a lot of stuff on the building, so this kind of was not as important. It's funny, it's just like a week or two ago, this was completely dry, going between here, whereas, yeah, it's about like it was now whenever we first put this in, which was a much bigger pain than it looks like, just because, I mean, it was, you know, you're waist deep trying to drive post out here. Again, cows are kind of annoying. Dad rents this to our neighbor, but I pretty much said, hey, look, whatever he's paying you, which isn't like a ton, I'll just pay you that to not rent it in the future. So we'll see what happens. Gina's old Zen garden here. Definitely needs some, and no, somebody asked what they say. Is this a shrine? No, we're Christians through and through, no shrine. So it was supposed to be more of like a pergola, kind of like a sit, meditate, something. You can see actually all around there, and you can't really see from here, are biblical verses just on meditating, etc. But again, used fine gravel instead of sand. That was kind of a mistake, and pond definitely needs a little bit more work. Same thing with the garden here, but yeah, cows get into everything. It's like they tore down, I had solar lights around the pond, and they somehow managed to take each one of them down, didn't you? Out here. There's a little garden area. Only thing now still there is the blackberries. Check the pH, but it is, I don't know, they're not growing quite as fast as they used to, you might say. It's freezing. But we'll see what happens. In theory, if I do the slow career change, it'll be interesting to see if I have enough stuck away / can make enough doing X, Y, and Z to kind of offset. But again, life's too short to just rinse and repeat forever. Alright, now where the other video picked up, you should be able to see there's the solar panels and the wind turbine. In the distance, those posts sticking up will be the future ATF tower to warn us. No, I'm kidding. Joking. Actually just going to do a really tall hunting tower because you can see 3 sides of the field for Robert, but right now I'm not sure if you even need them because pretty much as soon as he comes out here, he bags a deer. Him and his nieces and nephew have already gotten 3. And again, I think this is where the other video that was raining, root cellar, building, more cows. Oops. And I think, is the creek still running? Oh, it is. Barely, but barely. Starting to halfway turn my attention to what was supposed to be Gina's Zen garden. Now it's becoming more like Gina's not so zen swamp. But if I can beat the rain, it is almost walkable, which you're like, thinking, okay, big deal. Last year's bridge. Waiting out in that muck is always fun. Done. We may come back at night to see if the solar's still working. Need to move the brush pile a little bit. Yes, a little bit rocky. That stump, gotta take that out. Gotta dig more rocks, cut a few more trees so she can have a beautiful look at the swamp. Just kidding. The spring that keeps feeding in. Put the little bridge here. Whoa. So at least that's problem solved. Up here, obviously, got to get some rocks out of the way again. But at least solved the, at least for now. Again, a little bit muddy, so many roots, and then the decline here. I don't think there's much other way to do it, so ended up just driving a 5-foot metal pike all the way into the ground. Some board under this. I'm no carpenter, but, and then there's 2 at the front. So far she doesn't budge, so don't get too good of a running start or you'll go right off. Whoop. Quick left. Some of these stumps and the roots, who knows what we're gonna do with it. Thankfully the spillway I dug out is actually mostly working. Put a ton of snake repellent, tick, bug, all the above. See if those are working later. Not bad walking, just have to move some rocks, which won't be that big of a deal. Cleared most of the way from when there was cattle here, and they kind of ruined the embankment, created another spillway. We've got it stopped, but obviously that's less than smooth walking. That's going to have to be covered with dirt, not that big a deal. And then on the additional spillway, which we've mostly stopped up, I was like, you know what, let's just do another bridge. I still have to add some dirt, but at least that makes it, other than the one big set of rocks, mostly walkable. So we'll see what happens.